Welcome to Wellness Rebranded.
We know there is so much conflicting health and fitness advice out there.
And you're tired of the wellness fads, endless diets, and impossible standards that make you feel like nothing you do is ever enough.
You're ready to tune into your mind and body and feel empowered around health.
We're the healing trio here to help you redesign your relationships with food, fitness, and yourself.
I'm Elizabeth, registered dietitian and certified intuitive eating counselor.
I'm Maria, licensed mental health therapist.
And I'm Tara, personal trainer.
Together, we're changing the narrative on health away from diet culture, hustle culture, and toxic positivity and towards healthful self-care.
So grab your water bottle, get ready to laugh, learn, and grow, and let's start rebranding your wellness journey.
A few months ago, I went to what I would describe possibly the most beautiful exhibition I have been in maybe my entire life. So beautiful that I told our guest today that I had to go to my car after participating in the exhibition, and I sat down and I had to tear up for several minutes. Then I posted something on Instagram about my experience, and I had to bring her today to share about this amazing message that she's putting out there through this exhibition. So we have with here today Miss Christa Welch. She's a licensed clinical social worker and the founder and owner of Betty Center, which is a therapy practice and women's center located here in Annapolis, Maryland, where we are. Betty Center offers women at all ages and life stages and their families the opportunity to heal, connect, learn, and grow, and helps reconnect them to their inner strength and resilience. Something I want to add to this is that I was telling Christa that I've visited many different mental health practices in our area, and by far, people, if decoration and the feeling of it has a meaning to you, just come to check it out, because it looks like a space taken out from a magazine, like a decoration magazine. And I'm like, can I not only come to therapy, but can I just live here? And I remember I even asked, do you do decoration like for a living? Can you come to my home and do this in my house? But Christa, thank you so much for saying yes to chatting with us here in the pod. So yeah, tell us about yourself and about the Betty Center and about this amazing exhibition that you put together. How did that idea come up?
Yeah, thank you for that incredibly warm and genuine introduction, Maria. And as always, you're warm and authentic. And I just love how open-hearted and warm you are. It feels like when you're talking, you're giving me a big hug. So thank you for that.
I am, actually.
I love that. And I think you mentioned Betty Center being a warm, welcoming space. Betty Center is named in honor of my mom, Betty Ann. She's who we call the OG, the original Betty. My mom was a very strong, powerful force in my life and the life of many people who knew her for many years. She passed away. We lost her in 2013, and none of us have been the same since, quite honestly. But my mom was a force to be reckoned with. She was an advocate for social change. She was a single mom back in the day when that wasn't really a thing. We were Catholic, and we would just march right up into the front row of the pew, and my mom didn't care who saw her and wasn't afraid to be exactly who she was. And I learned a lot of my moxie and strength from her. And when we lost her, I always said that I wanted to start a women's center and therapy practice in her honor that sort of taught other women how to be that same sort of strong, authentic, resilient person that she was. And just an aside, you mentioned our space being warm and welcoming. One of the things about Betty Ann, this is going to date me. I'm 55, so I grew up in the 70s and 80s. But when we moved, my parents got divorced and we moved from Long Island to Virginia, Northern Virginia. We moved into a townhouse, which was not the thing back in those days. I didn't really know anybody who had divorced parents. I didn't know anybody who didn't have two parents in a big fancy house somewhere. And we had this little townhouse. And you know what? My mom made it so beautiful and so warm and so special. And everybody wanted to come to our house all the time because my mom made it so warm and welcoming and special. She set the dinner with china every Sunday. And for my birthday parties, we all got dressed up in dresses. So she sort of taught me how to host and how to create a warm, welcoming space. So that was part of my intention with Betty Center, was to make sure that anyone who comes through our doors feels welcomed the way that people felt like when they came to my house.
As you're talking, I'm thinking, I feel similarly about my mom, but as you're talking, I'm thinking, wow, if my kids like say half that amount of nice things about me someday, I will be thrilled. So your mom sounds amazing.
She was a tough cookie, Elizabeth. She didn't take any nonsense, right? When I fell out of line, she was right there to put me back on the right path. And so, I learned a lot of strength, but I also learned how to stand up for what's right and speak my truth, even when it wasn't popular. And that's gotten me through a lot of difficult situations in my life. Specifically, my first husband walked out the door when my kids were 5 and 7 to have an affair and ultimately marry his then married high school girlfriend. So that was a treat. And we're all good now, all these years later. My kids are 23 and 19, but it was a rough slog getting there. It was humiliating and embarrassing and hurtful and painful and all the things. And my mom was there. Fortunately, she passed away after the divorce was final. So she was able to sort of help me through all of it. And I kept saying, I can't do it. I can't do it. She was like, you can, and you will. And so she taught me how to get back up when life knocks you down every single time. And so that's part of what Betty Center is about. We want to help our clients, both through therapy and through all the other services that we provide, how to get back up when life knocks us down, which it does often. And it's not about what knocks us down, it's about how we get back up. And it's not always graceful. My girlfriends and I from high school, we were on a trip last year in Florida, and we were just floating in the water, and it was very calm and beautiful. And we were laughing and having the best time in our mom bathing suits and just not caring about anything. And then all of a sudden, one of us spotted what we thought was a shark. Of course, it wasn't.
No.
It was a manatee.
I would be out of there so fast.
We freaked out. We stumbled out of the water like three big old mommy whales or whatever. We were just laughing and stumbling, and it was so not a graceful exit at all. We collapsed on the sand laughing our heads off, but we got out of there. We got out of the danger. And so that's what it is, right? We want to learn how to get back up when we fall down, or how to pivot when life gives us lemons. So that image like sticks with me.
You're reminding me, Christa, there's a story in my family. Many people will know that I'm pretty scared of wildlife. Like my dog weighs 4 pounds for a reason. And we go to Marco Island a lot. There's a family home there. And when our kids were small, we used to take them jet skiing and we would tube behind it. And one time I was tubing behind it, and there's loads of dolphins in Marco Island. You always see them. And one came up close to us, and my family says that like I literally ran on water because I was out on the tube, and I got myself back onto that jet ski. Like I launched myself off the tube and back onto the jet ski. So that's what I was thinking of when you were telling that story.
Yeah, it's our fight or flight response at work, right?
Because this is so related to this exhibition I went to.
Yeah.
When did you make the decision of doing that? And explain to our listeners what this exhibition is.
Thinking about launching a podcast or taking yours to the next level? Giuliana Barbati and her team are the experts you need. They take care of everything from episode funnel design to production and marketing, so you can focus on creating content that connects. Check out julianabarbati.com and mention that we sent you.
Yeah, so I think it's important, you sort of lay that groundwork about Betty Center and why behind Betty Center, and how the Women with Scars project is something that sort of fits perfectly within our mission statement, right? So we're really there to help women at all ages and life stages get back up when they fall down and face challenges as gracefully as they can, and equipped with all the information that they need to move forward. And the Scars Project, we were hosting actually with Maria. We were across an event last year from you. The first time I met you actually was at the Women in Business event at the Annapolis Town Center. And we were chatting with you and lots of other business owners. And this woman came up to us. She was a photographer. And we started chatting with her. And she said, have you ever thought about doing a photography project featuring women who have scars? And I thought, no, but I want to. Funny enough, I actually have a scar because I'm a 2-time breast cancer survivor. So I have a mastectomy scar that's quite, kind of, it's tough to look at sometimes. I mean, I've had it for almost 20 years now, so I'm a little bit more comfortable with it. And then Victoria, my business partner, has a big abdomen scar from a lot of different surgeries. Actually, she has cystic fibrosis, so she has chronic health concerns that sort of we have to watch and monitor with her all the time. So she has some scars. And we started chatting with this woman, Autumn, and she said, well, like, what do you think about doing it? I said, absolutely. And so we reached out to women that we knew in the community who have different kinds of scars. We started thinking about what are the scars that life leaves on us? What kind of physical scars? What kind of mental scars? What kind of emotional scars? And so we found 11 women that have both visible and invisible scars, everything from women who have suffered and experienced and overcome domestic violence, violence in their families. One woman's husband was murdered, a woman who lost her son to gun violence, another woman who overcame some significant addiction issues and had to have a liver transplant because of the damage that she had done through her addiction. So we have the profiles of these courageous women in photograph form with their stories next to them. And I'm telling you, the power of these photos is, as Maria said, it really is beautiful. The women have all overcome such incredible and oftentimes very painful experiences in their lives. And they're here to tell the tale. They're profoundly proud and courageous. The photographs, Autumn did such an incredible job with these photographs. They're absolutely stunning. We always joke, she like photographed us in the wild, right? So each of us got to pick kind of the location that spoke to us. We're all over town, in offices, in the community, outside, in nature, expressing our strength through these photographs. And as Maria said, they actually hang in our wall in our Betty Center offices as a reminder of why we do the work that we do, that you can get through whatever it is you're facing, and there will be people there to help you.
At least for me, when I went to that exhibition, I don't even know how to put it in words, but it was two things. It was one, wow, looking at those beautiful pictures and these women showing themselves in such a vulnerable way, but such a powerful and courageous way. The mix of those two things in a photograph was like, wow, right? Like how brave and beautiful. And then on the other hand, on my end, is like, it made me think I have a lot of scars, and the message I grew up with is just you hide scars. Yes. Scars are not pretty. They rarely look pretty. Is something that, even my C-section scar, it was for something positive, but it's a scar. A scar is something you need to hide. And seeing it that way, I also left that exhibition like an internal hug for me to acknowledge my visible and invisible scars. And then one of the messages on the stories next to a picture, she said, these scars are a reminder of the badass woman that I am. And I left and I'm like, I'm a badass woman, so like I'm gonna start counting my scars and all the stuff I've gone through, visible and invisible, that it was that mix of sadness for me with empowerment. At the same time, it hit me. And I was like, I had no idea what I was going to, and the impact that I was going to have in me is just such an amazing reminder.
And what a beautiful way to, I think, often with a lot of scars, there could be shame, right? Mm-hmm. People don't want to show it. And how amazing to just completely blow that wide open and take, like, there's such power in reclaiming our stories and our scars.
Mm-hmm. Shame is the secret feeling that all of us, I think it's the most insidious feeling that we all have, right? And it's the one that keeps us small, and it keeps us hiding, and it forces us not to be our authentic selves. And when we can unmask ourselves and allow ourselves to step into our power, we can conquer that shame. It no longer has power over us. And so that was sort of, I will say that for myself, I had never taken pictures without my shirt on before. I mean, gosh, how embarrassing, right? But Autumn made it such a beautiful experience. She was so gentle and helpful in sort of allowing me to just tap into exactly what you're saying, Elizabeth, that I don't need to be afraid or ashamed. I don't have anything to hide. And so I think that if you ask any of the women who participated in this exhibit, they will all tell you the same thing, that the experience of getting your photograph taken in such a vulnerable way is very therapeutic for all of us.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
But also, I've always said the power of women really actually started talking about their struggles and the power behind it, because we've also been taught to just stay quiet. This is not something that you put out there, right? Like,
Yeah.
what is the saying? The dirty laundry at home, whatever. You wash
Don't air your dirty laundry.
Yeah, don't air your dirty laundry. Or we
Dirty laundry at home.
wash your dirty laundry at home.
Take mine around.
Same thing. Everybody understood. But the message sometimes is that you need to portray yourself as a strong person, and that doesn't mean acknowledging your struggles and your suffering and your learnings. And
honestly, those struggles and scars make us stronger.
exactly. I love that. For me, seeing other women gave me, in a way, permission to acknowledge my own scars and really landed the concept of what true strength really means for me.
Hearing you talk about it and describe it, first of all, I had goosebumps when you were sharing it.
Oh, you
It
need to
just
see it.
sounds
It-
amazing,
it-
which leads to my next question. Is this still, can I see this somewhere?
I was going to ask that too.
Yeah. So originally, when we came up with the idea, we had the scars photos made and we hung them in our office temporarily, quote unquote, because the intention was always that the gallery exhibit was going to travel. That was what we wanted. Once we saw that the power that it was having on other people, we said, well, we have to make this public somehow. So we decided, well, let's keep this set of photos that we have at the Betty Center and get another set made. And we were fortunate because we had a couple of interesting visitors when we did our open house for the Scars Project last September. We had a number of interesting community members who kind of came in. One was the library, which, as you guys know, here in our county, we are very fortunate. And I'm sure this is true around the country for all of your listeners, but the library, my gosh, how can we say enough fabulous
We
things?
actually
about
have an
the
awesome
about the
episode with the
library.
woman from the library on prescribing.
Yeah.
So prescribed.
We'll
with
drop the
Becky
link in the show
Haas.
notes.
Becky Haas, yes.
Yeah, Becky Haas is my favorite. She's got the
Yes,
best,
she's-
got the best sense of humor ever. And the library is like my jam. And my mom and I, we went to the library every Monday night my whole life. So I'm a total library geek. But the library came and they said, we want to have this. So last September, they booked the Scars Project for the month of March at the Discoveries, the library at the mall, which is here in Anne Arundel County.
Oh,
at the
like
Anne
right
Arundel
now?
Mall. Yep. And so we kicked
Oh,
off
I'm
last
totally
Saturday.
going.
Oh, me too.
Yep. It's there. It will be there through the end of the month of March. And then after that, it will be available for anybody who wants it. So we actually had the honor of speaking at the Women's Legislative Caucus on Monday because we were invited by a couple of the local legislators in our county or our city who also came and saw the Scars Project and said, we want to tell more people about it. So we invited the women legislators to bring this Scars exhibit to their local communities. So it is our hope that it finds its way around the state of Maryland. And then we are thinking that maybe we'll do it again. Maybe we'll find another group of 12 women and,
I was
and do a
just going to
second
ask.
piece.
Yeah, it seems like it could be an ongoing thing, but also maybe because it was like the talk of the library or like it was a community exhibit and you're talking about connecting with the library. Like I could almost see it as like a traveling thing, bringing it into other communities. Like how cool.
Yeah, that's what we're thinking. And so we were thinking, your local community center, your local library, your local marina. There's so many opportunities where this can be showcased, different restaurants all around our county and all around the state, really. And I think that these kinds of messages are so powerful without saying a lot.
I was just going to say, and it's really through the visuals, right?
Well, here's another idea, Christa. So let me say this. First of all, for those of you who know that I host the Emotional Fitness Studio, which is free wellness in-person events here in the community, the Betty Center is actually one of the sponsors this year. So I'm so happy about that. And thank you again for supporting this initiative. But my point here too is that last year, the Emotional Fitness Studio hosted an event for self-esteem. It was, now I can't remember what it was called, but it was something about self-esteem on the frame or something like that. And women came and I had a photographer take the pictures of them, not in the typical photography pose, but in any pose that they wanted. And then we displayed the pictures on the TV, and the group of women that were there will look at the picture and we will point out all the beautiful things that we were looking at this woman in this picture. And some of them were like somebody in a couch just crawling up, or, maybe poses that they felt they needed to have at that moment, or poses where whatever. It was so powerful. We all end up tearing up.
That sounds
and
amazing.
It was amazing. The Emotional Fitness Studio is having it again this year in May. But now I'm thinking, Christa, in terms of the scars, how therapeutic could be to not only these women, for you to keep finding new and new women and the exhibition growing and growing besides traveling. But even the offering of those women with scars or without scars to come have their photography taking, and then they take this photography with them, because the way it's done is such an empowering way that it's like this is not only an exhibition, but the opportunity for you to get this picture taken and walk away with a new image of you, a new way of seeing your scars, right? Like it can go so many different ways.
Well, it's interesting that you say that. So last Saturday, when we kicked off the exhibit at the libraries at the mall, that's exactly what we did. We got a Polaroid camera, and anybody who came in who wanted to take, we had somebody taking their pictures, and you could take a picture of yourself, whether you were wanting to show your scar or just yourself. And then people were writing their scars, and then we just put them up on a big whiteboard. And then if people didn't want to take a picture, we have little note cards that you could write, my scar is this or that. And we had a lot of participation. And what's interesting about it is, some women were shy about it at first, but then they kind of got into it and they were having a good time with it. But also we had a number of people who sort of literally wandered in off the mall, like runway, right? Just wandering the mall with their kids. And we had like 3 people who came in off the street separately who all wound up in tears looking at the pictures. And so it was to your point, Maria, it was a very empowering experience. And so I do love that idea of incorporating more people in the experience of having your picture taken. It's a really interesting and empowering experience. We'd love to certainly be part of whatever you want to put together at the Emotional Fitness Studio.
Christa, are they available online anywhere where our listeners could see them?
They're not, but that's something we can certainly consider, like making them available on the website for sure. We have a smaller set that we got, like tabletop size, that we brought with us to the Women's Caucus, which I'd be happy to bring to the collective. But I mean, also we can certainly make them available online if that's something that people are interested in. We want to make it as accessible as possible.
Yeah. Well, if you do put them online, please definitely let us know, because I'm certain that there are people listening now that are like, well, I want to see that, but I don't live in Annapolis.
Yeah.
Right.
So, Christa, what would be your message for women out there? If it's true, I think that we all have our different kind of scars, again, visible and invisible. Those things that we carry that not everybody can see, but they're part of you. And I guess one question before your biggest takeaways, what are your thoughts for those women who have always believed that we wanted to erase those scars, that we wanted to erase what has happened to us, and that sometimes some messaging, even in the mental health field before, was that for you to move on, you needed to erase these things or forget about them. And we've learned through the years that's not even realistic to ask. So what is your message for those women who are still thinking that the way to go is to erase the story that we bring or the struggles that we've gone through?
I say to my therapy clients all the time, we are not the worst mistake that we've ever made, whatever, or the worst thing that's happened to us, right? So for me, I can remember when my divorce was happening, I literally thought like I was tainted or something like that, because I had been so publicly and personally rejected. What's more the rejecting than your husband walking out the door to be with another woman and her family, right? Like, and bringing, and taking your kids with him sort of, it was like he just rejected them. He just rejected me. So I was like, I must be broken. There must be something completely wrong with me that I am being so like shamed in this way. And then one day I realized, it took a long time, but I eventually realized, no, that's not what's happening at all here. This is not about me. This is completely about him. And certainly I had my role to play in our marriage. But the plot twist is that he and I are actually get along great now. So that's the good news about all this. We've been able to sort of, make things better. So I'm not trying to like throw him under the bus at this point. But what happened all these years ago is a long time under the bus, and it's better for our children that we all get along. But that was what was going on with him. And I had to learn not to make that representative of me. Like, I was not the woman who got left. I always felt people were like, poor Christa. Oh, poor Christa, her husband left. Oh gosh, that must be awful. I hope that doesn't happen to me. That was how I felt that it was like. It wasn't like that at all. I mean, maybe some people thought that, but they would never be my friends anyway, so I don't care about them. For the most part, the people that really saw it for what it was were like, hey, Christa, get yourself back up. You've got 2 beautiful kids. You've got a wonderful life. You have lots of things, that are still there for you for the taking. And you can do this. Like, you are okay just the way you are. Just because somebody decided that he doesn't want to be married to you anymore doesn't mean you're broken. And that's the same for so many things. I mean, I've experienced lots of different traumas, that we won't discuss here, but even those things are not representative of who I am. They're things that happened, right, to me, and they don't define me. And I would say that to so many women. We are not the worst thing that happened to us. Yes, it's painful. And yes, to your point, Maria, we can't sweep it under the rug. We shouldn't. We should grieve it. We should feel it. We should share it. And then we can take a step forward into the next chapter of our lives.
And I think we underestimate the healing that's in the sharing. They're just sharing. I know I've had things that I've shared that were really hard, but I found it to be really therapeutic in the end. Because when you're not sharing it, that's like when you really get into that feeling shame about it.
And not get discouraged if you share with people that at the end don't know how to receive it, because that happens too. With the sharing, you actually find who are your people.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? As you share, you're like, okay, well, you're not the best receiver of that. That's okay. I'll keep kissing more frogs until I find the best receiver. And then you start creating your tribe and your village of women who, are doing this work too, of embracing these scars in a way that is therapeutic and healing for you.
And I love what you said, Maria. Just because somebody doesn't respond to our sharing the way that we would hope that they would, again, that's not about us. And that's about them. And we can accept them for where they are on their journey. They may not be ready to receive it, or they may be going through something horrible that they haven't shared with us. And we've just triggered something inside of them that is, painful for them. And so I've had to learn over the years also to just meet people right where they are on the journey. And yeah, maybe they're not going to be part of your tribe, but we can't underestimate, because we can't know what's going on in their head or their heart. And so I try to give people grace when something doesn't land exactly the way I was hoping that it would, which we know happens, right? Sometimes we share something and somebody's like, ew. And you're like, oh, okay, well, like you said, next. Yeah.
So Christa, biggest takeaways from you, or biggest message for our listeners to wrap up this conversation? What do you want them to take with them?
I really feel that women need to remember that we can get through anything. It may not look graceful. It may look like me running out of the water after that supposed shark, but actually was a manatee, or Elizabeth, levitating onto the jet ski. It's not going to be pretty. It doesn't have to be. What matters is that we get back up and keep going. That is what matters. We can't just sit. And we can sit for a little while. I'm okay with sitting, because we might need to be gathering our strength. But at a certain point, we got to get up and keep on going. And that's the most important thing. And I think that I would say, find your tribe of people that is there to help you up. The woman that is going to extend her hand down to you when you're sitting in the fetal position, and who's going to say, here, I got you. Let's keep going together. That's what my most important message would be.
Or let me bring you some water while you're in your fetal position and give you some space to be
protein
there
for your strength gathering.
And then once you're ready to get up, I'll be here to, help you up. Absolutely. Yes.
I love that.
Powerful.
It is.
Powerful.
Christa, thank you so much again for chatting with us. My brain is already working on how Wellness Rebranded and Women with Scars are going to collaborate. I'm going to come up with something, because if I can help for this exhibition to be out there for more and more women, I'm going to do it, because it's really something to experience for sure. But thank you so much for chatting with us. If you want to know more about the Betty Center and Christa, the information is on the show notes. But just for the record, what is the website and how can people find you?
Yep. We are at Betty Center. That's BETTY Center Connect.com. BettyCenterConnect.com. And thank you, all three of you. Like, I could have sat and talked to you for 3 more hours. This is so much fun.
Same here.
Likewise.
Same.
And Christa, I think you also mentioned you have a Facebook page?
Oh, yes, we do. We have a Facebook page, Next Chapter for Midlife Women, that you can find on Facebook. And if you like the Betty Center on Facebook, you'll automatically be able to join our Facebook page. We need more people in the Facebook page because we want it to be a robust community of women, and you don't have to live locally to be members. So we'd love to have more people join.
Awesome.
And Christa, if anybody is looking for actually therapy with your practice, do you take any insurance? Is it self-pay?
We are self-pay and we provide super bills for folks afterwards. And we've had a lot of our clients have pretty good luck getting reimbursed at least a portion of their therapy fees. So, we're always welcome. We have 4 clinicians, myself included. We're all women and we represent lots of different ages, all the way from 60 down to 26. So there's somebody for everyone, I think.
And the best way to make that first step, is it through your website or is there a phone number for people to call?
No, the website is the best way. Yep. We have
All
one of
right.
those weird Google phones and I don't love that.
Okay, sounds good. And thank you again, Christa. And if you were
Yeah, thank
listening
you.
and you
Thank
love
you so
this
much.
episode, please share it with your friends. Find out maybe on their website when the next exhibition is going to be. We're hoping that it's going to be soon. And
Maybe we can encourage her to put the pictures online before the episode.
and maybe she'll put it in pictures online. Thank you for this conversation. Women out there, you don't need to hide anymore. Your strength is actually on your vulnerability, and the strength is in all of us getting together to embrace and honor our stories, including our scars. Until next time.
If this episode resonated with you, I would encourage you to go check out episode 82, How to Practice Emotional Self-Care, What It Is and Why It Matters.
Thank you for listening. If you want to connect with me outside of this podcast, you can find me on Instagram at coaching_therapist.
I'm Elizabeth. You can find me at Elizabeth Harris Nutrition or in my Facebook group, Health and Healing with Intuitive Eating.
And I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Tara DeLeon Fitness. Guys, if you loved this episode or any of our other episodes, we would love it if you would leave us a review on Apple Podcast. It really, really helps us get the non-diet word out to the rest of the world. So please leave us a review.
Yes, thank you.